Queen ShanShan, and this is a broadcast podcast.
Hey girl, hey! This is your girl, Queen ShanShan. It's a new show. It's a brand new show, brand new day, and guess what? We have brand new guests with an S. We are here for it, so saddle up and be ready to be shook. Last week's show was called, category is, Doctor Strikes a Pose, and it was with Dr. Arnel Calvario. And it was literally a smash hit. The numbers this week has been going off the roof. And I think today we've literally hit maybe over 100 downloads. And it's only, like today's Thursday, we've hit almost 100 downloads in the last 48 hours.
That's because we're working.
Yeah, we're
the
working.
right channels now.
The white channels.
The right channels.
Oh, so you said the white channels.
It's not a white thing. Don't you gotta be white.
Oh, it's not. We're very PC here.
I know.
Okay. Anyway, so thank you, Arnel, for being here. We really loved you sharing your two passions of being a doctor and being a dancer. Yes, broads, let your passions be unleashed. I have recently found that doing this podcast is my new passion. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication. This week has been crazy. So I find myself a little overwhelmed, but I love it. And I'm practicing my writing skills and communication skills every day. So it's a challenge, but I'm getting to know more about myself. And it's actually quite revealing. So thank you all for allowing me to share my passion with you, letting me be in your car, your bedrooms, your office, your classrooms, wherever you want to listen to a podcast. So thank you so much. Edward, what is your passion in life?
Just one?
Okay, do you have a couple?
I have many.
So what's the main 200 passions in your life then?
Top of mind, shopping.
Okay.
Is that too shallow? I mean, it's like...
Sounds good.
I really like to shop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like to shop for food.
What do you like to shop for?
Clothing.
Yes, you're a
And any
whore.
kind of fineries in life. Like I like to shop for bed sheets. I like to shop for nice comforters.
Heather loves to shop for
jewelry.
bags. Yeah.
Yeah, I like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I like to find a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if I find it, I won't buy anything full price. But, sometimes you have to.
Yes.
Sure.
Like a good pair of Gucci shoes.
Oh, of course.
They don't come cheap.
No, they
and
do not.
They're usually not on sale.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one passion.
That's one passion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well we're gonna talk about other people's passions because we have two great co-hosts here. We're gonna introduce them in a minute. But I want to acknowledge, and that's in my notes. I forgot to mention this in my notes. We have new listeners in Myanmar, and we have new listeners in. Oh, good Lord. This is what I get for being... I tell you, this week has been crazy. Myanmar and Malaysia.
Sounds like? Okay.
And
Malaysia.
Unfortunately, I forgot to look up their translations for hello. But hello, Myanmar. And Myanmar.
Does anybody at this table know the translation?
Well, Robert speaks Japanese.
Japanese, not Malaysian.
Languages, but
Yeah, it's Myanmar, Myanmar,
yeah,
and then
it's
Malaysia.
Myanmar, which I know from the Kimmy Schmidt Titus song.
Oh,
Oh, right.
Pinot
How can you
Noir,
not?
Pinot Noir, Myanmar.
Pinot Noir.
Oh my God.
But anyways, thank you for listening, you guys in those countries. We really appreciate that. So let's get into it.
And somebody else?
Oh my goodness! How can I even? We have an actual audience member, you guys. We're gonna introduce her in a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Because she's very, very special. The two guest co-hosts are Robert Rice and Tim O'Leary. Welcome, boys.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. Hey.
We are so glad you are here. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. Okay. And Rod, remember this is Pride Month, so we want to praise and recognize the LGBTQ plus community for this month and basically all year round. Not just for June, but we want to recognize everybody's efforts and how they are expressing their love. And let's be honest, what does everybody want? Whether we are gay, straight, bi, trans, non-gender, we strive for one thing in our lives: inclusivity. So let's get to it and welcome our guests.
Hello.
Hi.
And let's welcome Miss Marina. Marina I already messed up the last name. Trahan. Thanks for being our studio audience today.
So excited.
You're good friends with Edward.
Yes.
Yay!
Love him.
So,
I love you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, sweetie. So we're going to talk about Robert and Tim. Oh, I'm sorry, I said Robert's first name.
Yeah,
So sorry.
again.
Yeah.
God damn. All right,
I'm
I'm done.
greedy.
I'm done. I'm leaving.
Goodbye.
Tim is getting a complex that I keep saying Robert's name first, but it is in
fine.
alphabetical order.
It's true.
We're going to welcome Tim and Robert. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Are you excited?
Yes. Of
And you
course.
guys listen to the podcast
I do,
too.
yeah. I'm
Uh-huh.
a big fan. Yeah. I listen to it at the gym and when I'm walking my dog. That's my podcast
Yes.
time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about how you guys met and became partners in love and in life.
Uh-huh.
We're going to talk about your new Demonhuntr web series and what that's all about. The Demonhuntr, you guys are spelling it without the E. We're going to talk about why is it without the E, and there's a reason for that. They are both actors and they're writers, and they're producing this amazing new web show. The gay Hollywood machine and its ups and downs. I mean, is there a gay Hollywood machine? Is there a gay mafia? The Madonna Minute, what the critics are saying about Madame X's new songs and new album, and how has the public received the new album. And also, while I'm flipping my notes, we're going to talk about, we have a new segment called Why Florida Why? An interesting, right?
The most excited
Can you
about
imagine? Yeah, because Florida there's always something up with Florida.
Right.
We have listeners in Florida. Thank you, Florida, for listening.
Hi,
But,
Florida.
You know, why Florida Why?
Yeah, what's going on?
Get out while you still can. While you're still
The
alive.
home of the newlywed and nearly dead. and-
Right?
Newlywed.
Newly-
Oh, jeez.
and we are going to have our famous Wiglet of the week. So all of this and more after the break.
Today, I'm finally an adult. You know why? Because I got life insurance, y'all. I got my life insurance policy through ShanInsure.com. That's spelled ShanInsure.com. Be sure to check them out because they are a full-service licensed insurance agency. And you can be an adult too. Be sure to tell them that Queen ShanShan sent you. Hunty!
And we are back. Let's welcome once again Robert Rice and Tim O'Leary.
Again, he's
I was
first.
first.
I know.
Jesus.
You know, Tim O'Leary and Robert Rice.
Hey, there we go. That's how I like
Look
it.
at like, the faces
That's
are...
fine.
It's like Penn and Teller wouldn't sound
Yeah.
the right way.
Right,
What
right.
Teller and Penn?
Clyde and Bonnie.
Yeah.
Clyde and
That
Bonnie.
sounds
I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah, that's
Clyde
right,
and
that's
Bonnie
right.
sounds like a bluegrass group.
Does. Actually. Machine and Florence. I don't
Machine and
think so.
Florence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Abbott
doesn't
and
work.
Costello,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Abbott was the first because it's an A.
Yeah.
What-
Oh,
you
that's
know,
fair. Yeah, that's fair. Oh yeah, Bonnie and Clyde is alphabetical order. Okay.
So,
How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for braving the LA streets to come here.
At rush hour.
Yeah.
At rush hour.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that.
Of course, we Facebook Lived our journey here.
yeah. Made sure we got all the license plates.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about how you and I met. We met through obviously mutual friends, through
Yeah.
Jay and
And
Jay
Jesse, yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and Rizzo
Yeah, yeah.
and Victor, and that was like a couple of years, 3 years ago when we
That
had
was 3 years
was that
ago.
3
I
years
think
ago?
it
At
was.
the Super Bowl.
Well, because it was Lady Gaga. It was the Lady Gaga
That's
concert
right.
where they played
Doing
some
Super-
sport around it.
yeah, it's called
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
Oh.
I don't.
You're
okay,
so
well,
gay.
I don't know what that
You're
means.
so
but,
gay. Yeah, it's
I don't.
Is that like the Hollywood Bowl?
Oh,
Is it like the Hollywood Bowl?
No, it's where two teams
Uh-huh.
play and they kick in and throw a football around.
I
What's a
don't
football?
Follow
What's-
this.
Super
I'm not
Bowl.
following.
I
And it
don't-
happens every February.
Is it about superheroes?
No, it's a football game.
Oh.
Cool.
And I
Oh,
don't forget-
like that's like where they kick things, right?
Yes,
With
where they
their
kick
feet?
things. But you know what?
Oh,
Do you not
no.
remember we also played poker after that?
I do remember.
Oh,
that.
yes, I watched. Y'all are dangerous.
Yeah, no, that was an intimidating poker table because everyone was super friendly and they sat down and it was all skills.
all changed.
Yeah, it got really, really competitive. I was like, I better leave while I still have my.
Well,
wallet.
ever since I met you guys, I thought you guys were hilarious.
Aw.
So we
Same.
obviously connected through Facebook and
Yeah.
seen each other since then. And I had you over for dinner before you tied the knot.
That's right. That
Right,
was
yes.
before.
That was last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about how you two met. Let's talk about your bio and your history. You're an actress. Sorry,
I am.
Robert.
She's an actress.
No.
You're
I'm
an
not precious.
actor, Robert, and you are a writer, Tim.
I am.
Let's talk about your careers first and then how you guys meshed.
Okay.
Careers first?
Yeah.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I was an actor in New York, mostly doing musical theater, and then I decided I really liked writing, so I wrote a couple plays, and then it was a beginner's luck thing where my first play got picked up and it was produced off Broadway, and then my second play went into the I almost said the Hollywood Fringe Festival, the New York Fringe Festival, and so I was like this new kid in town, and then it all stopped. And all of a sudden, nobody would produce my plays anymore. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go back up to Albany, where I went to college, and workshop a play before bringing it to New York. And I'll stop there, and I'll let you
Oh,
go.
sure.
Yeah.
So I'll go leading up to that point
Right.
as well. So I did like musical theater and all stuff all through high school. But because, parents are like, you got to do something practical with your life. So I studied Japanese and business in college. I snuck away and I did a lot of like singing and stuff. And that's a whole other
Japanese?
story.
Japanese is super practical.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they wanted you to learn Japanese or Japanese business?
They wanted me to do something practical. I studied business for that, and then I like languages, so I was like, well, I studied Japanese. I don't know. I was studying German in high school, and then I didn't want to do that anymore, so then I did Japanese. I can't explain.
Why not Spanish? Why not French or Italian?
I don't know.
Questions with
Well, what I could tell you is that like I was thinking very practically, and I wanted to do Chinese. Because that is like
the business
another
language.
giant
Yeah.
business language, but
Sure.
they didn't offer that as a major at my college. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll do Japanese. So I did Japanese and I learned it, and then I actually went and I taught English in Japan for 2 years.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it was cool. I did the JET program. A lot of people have done that. But
I don't know what that is. What is
oh,
that?
okay. It's the Japanese Exchange and Teaching Program, and you have to apply. You can apply at any time, but you have to have a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And then you have to go through a very long application process, which is very intimidating. And then you have to go interview in front of like a stoic board of Japanese people. And then if you get the job, then you get placed somewhere in Japan, and then you have to teach English.
Wow.
So I was placed on the most remote island in Japan. That was very close to South Korea. It's called Tsushima. Beautiful place. I had a wonderful time there, but nobody spoke English except for me and the few other, non-Japanese
teachers.
people who were teaching English. So I had to get good in order to
Right,
communicate. So that's how I got fluent in Japanese.
So you were just thrown basically in the pool and you had to learn how to swim immediately.
Right, because I had studied Japanese, but like learning a language in like a classroom versus like using it are two very different things,
Right.
and you get so much better, so much faster
Okay.
when you're actually there and just using it. So I did that for 2 years, and then when I came back, I tried to find work in like international business and stuff, and I actually couldn't find a job. It was a very difficult time to find a job.
Both of you are jobless at this time.
At this time, so I started working in a children's theater in Albany, New York, where I'm from.
So you both of you are from New York.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
got
I'm
it,
from
got it.
Albany, New York. He is from Jersey, but he went to college in
We
Albany.
don't tell people I'm from
I'm
Jersey.
so sorry.
We're going to have to edit that out. My lawyer's going to have to get in touch with them for
I meant
cease and desist.
I meant East New York.
I'm kidding, by the way. New
New
Jersey is
York.
gorgeous.
New Jersey is wonderful.
I love New Jersey.
We
I'm
have
proud to be
listeners in
from New Jersey. Yes.
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 Go Bruce Springsteen?
Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Really? Was it that hard to remember?
Thinking Bon Jovi.
Yeah,
Bon Jovi.
Jovi.
Or,
Thank you, Marina.
I love that
Thank you
it's
from
like,
our
go
studio
Bruce.
audience member.
Springsteen? Is that the guy?
Sinatra's
Some
from there,
jerk
right?
with a guitar.
Frank Sinatra's from there.
Frank Sinatra grew up in a town
Hoboken, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really close to where I grew up.
There you go.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Good on you.
I was in New York when he died, so I went over and saw the
Oh.
memorial.
Oh.
That's the only time I went to Hoboken, I think.
Okay.
But I like New Jersey.
That's pretty much the only reason.
All right, so both of you are looking for jobs, or you don't know what you're doing. What at this time were you at?
So
10?
for me, I was working actually for a now defunct website called AfterElton.com. So I
What
was
is it?
AfterElton.com. It was
After
part of
Elton.
the MTV logo imprint. And it was freelance, but it was enough to pay the bills. So I had a job, and it was great because it was paying work that was writing. But my theater career, that it was the whole reason I moved to New York, was floundering. So the plays that I had been, producing or that were being produced, all of a sudden they stopped being produced. So I sort of retreated up to Albany to workshop a play because I thought, well, I'm not going to try it down here in New York where it's going to if I fail big. I would rather fail small in Albany, and then I can make any corrections that I need to make for the play. So that's why I went up to Albany.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened with you,
Well,
Mr. Rudd?
I was working in a children's theater. Well, I was working in Macy's, and I was working in a children's theater. And I was getting paid to perform, which up until that point, I didn't even know that would be possible for me. Because, again, I've tried to do the practical route. Couldn't find a job. Ended up working in a children's theater called Steamer 10 in Albany, New York. It's still going. They do tons of shows for kids, musicals, and I also was teaching, musically directing shows that kids were in and stuff like that. So that's where I was. And then I saw an audition for a play written by one Tim O'Leary in Albany, New York, and I auditioned for it.
And so he slept with me, and he got the job.
Yep.
You were a victim.
That's actually
on the,
not true. That's
on
not
the
true.
casting couch?
It was a Me Too that worked.
Hashtag Me Too.
I mean, victim is a strong word.
Right.
No,
that actually did not even remotely happen.
Okay, then what happened?
So,
Actually, you did the play that you wrote.
Yep, he auditioned for it, and he was very good. And so I cast him, and I also, while I was up there, I signed on to direct another play written by a local playwright because it was being produced by the same theater company, same Albany theater company. So I ended up staying in Albany for a little while. Rob was in the second one. When that play was done, then we started dating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who flirted with who first?
Well, I think we were both sweet on each other.
Okay.
And Tim actually happened to have worked in the same children's theater that I was working at. It wasn't at the same time.
Right.
So as soon as that audition was over, I actually had to go back and do a show. And I remember I went up into the office, and the guy was working there. I'm like, "Do you know Tim O'Leary?" And he's like, "Yeah, he actually used to work here." I'm like, "Tell me everything you know about him. Is he single?" And he's
Is he single? Because he's
I
hot.
I was hot back then.
Oh, stop it. You still are.
Yeah, it was
Stop
a
it.
while ago.
Don't say that about my husband. But basically, I mean, we actually had a mutual friend that like lured us together into the same place. Remember, we had the video call. Like he called us to it. We call it video call because he called us to his house to like play video games together. And then
So it wasn't a booty call.
it was a video call.
It was a video call.
And then
Okay.
that night, Tim kissed me goodbye.
That's right.
And that was history.
And that was his turn. You're like, you're stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, I
and
was
then right, and then we stared dating, and then I freaked out and didn't respond to your text for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was very healthy.
Yeah. And that because I had come out of a long relationship sort of maybe a year earlier, but I hadn't been in
So
anything
you-
serious since
You
then.
didn't
so.
want to
don't wanna rush
sabotage? Were
things,
you
yeah.
self-sabotaging, you think?
I don't even think I thought of it as self-sabotaging. I thought of it as just going really slow. But I wasn't aware that I wasn't returning his text until he told me that.
Until you're like, dude, where have you been?
But then I went, okay. And then I course corrected.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't be ghosting your man.
I know.
We don't like ghosting. Women don't like ghosting
No,
either.
nobody likes ghosting.
Right, Marina?
No, ma'am.
No.
Don't ghost me.
So, so fast forward, you guys been working together. You moved to California when?
At different times, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you moved to the mid 2014, right?
Yes,
would say?
I had done I think I mentioned this. I had done a SAG-produced stage reading of a pilot, and I was talking to some producers, and they said, if you want to work in television, you have to move to LA. And that was in June of 2014. So
Okay.
by September of 2014, I had moved to LA. The plan was that Rob was going to move at the end of the year because he was going to stay in our apartment in New York until the lease was up. And then he had the audacity to get hired in a musical in Florida for 4 months.
In Florida.
Stop it.
So
Why
what was going to
Florida?
be
Why?
why Florida? Why?
Why Florida? Why?
So what was going to be 4 months apart ended up being 8 months apart. But we saw each other a lot. We flew
really?
on weekends and
Yeah,
stuff.
it was actually a wonderful experience, that job, at the
Yeah.
Straz Center in Florida.
Where in Florida?
Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
Which was lovely,
Tampa's
by the
nice.
way.
There's a lot of strip
And
clubs
I
over
like
there.
Tampa.
Yeah,
Oh!
also...
Yeah.
Well, and also there's like the gay district, too, and it was fun.
Okay.
And I did a show called First Date, which is a super fun show if you ever get a chance to see it. It's a great musical. And I was there from January through April, which temperature-wise is the best time to be in
Absolutely.
Florida.
That's the time to be in Florida.
Yes.
Like right when it was getting really muggy,
After
I was
April,
out.
forget it.
Yeah,
Right.
and I was like, this is perfect.
And it was really a magical time because the cast was wonderful.
Oh my God,
The
everyone
show
was
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
We had such a good time. But then after that, I finally moved to LA.
Okay.
And now we're here.
Yeah, and so we've We've been here together since April of 2015.
And how's it been working and writing and acting together?
Awful. He's horrible.
He's a horrible
He's
person.
so mean to me.
Yeah.
No, it's actually been really great. Rob was the impetus for us to start making our own material, making our own content. When we first got here, Rob was pounding the pavement on auditions, and I was pounding the pavement trying to get into a writer's room. It's very hard to break into any aspect of Hollywood.
Of course it is.
And then Rob really said, why don't we start making our own stuff? And so I had written what was supposed to be a play, but I changed it into a web series, and I cast our good friend Angela Lewis, who is now Aunt Louie on Snowfall. So I got her before her
She's
pay
not
grade was
that's
that
a show
high.
on FX.
Yes, show on FX.
Yeah.
Yeah. And J. Mallory McCree, who is her husband, who's our really good friend,
That's
he
awesome.
produced it, and he
Also
was also
works
in it. Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, he's on good
He's on
trouble
good
now.
trouble right
They're
now.
doing quite well for themselves.
So I noticed since I've been following you guys on Insta and Facebook, two things I wanted to definitely note. You, Tim, like horror and scary movies and genre.
Yes.
You like Robert comedy
Yeah,
stuff.
I tend to do
So
comedy.
you have these awesome skits and sketches that are on Instagram. These little, the 1 minute sketches.
Yep.
You have with like an acting team that you work with.
Oh, so that's not my. I am in those, but those are not mine. They're my friend Steve Royal. He has a company, I guess, called Wait What Comedy, and he.
What is it called?
Wait What Comedy.
Wait, what? Okay.
Yep. Wait, what?
And you can see that. You can
yeah,
find that on
if you
Instagram.
look at
It's
Instagram,
so
you can see
funny.
Wait What
It is
Comedy.
so funny.
I
Yeah.
think he's like super smart and super talented, and like he just brings a whole bunch of really funny people together. He sometimes every week, sometimes every other week, depending on everyone's schedule, and we just get together. He has ideas and premises, and like we run with it. We get to do a little bit of improv.
Funny
They're always
sketches.
a minute and
Yeah.
like almost always like amazingly funny. It's just like it's amazing like how many sketches he does are just consistently funny because it's
Yeah.
hard to be
Oh my
consistently
God.
funny.
I laugh, and it's also to be that funny in a minute.
in a minute.
Yes,
He's
that's
so,
a lot of editing
so-
you got to do.
He's so
in a
smart
minute.
about his comedy.
So yeah, he's amazing, and so like I it was one of those random things where like I
But it
had
helps build your resume too, right?
exactly where I had just like a profile on like the breakdown
Right.
sites like LA Casting, Actors Access, all the stuff for actors,
Absolutely.
and he found me, and I just started working with him, and it's been like 2 years now.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how did you get into? You came from a playwright background, but now you like to write for the horror fantasy genre.
Yeah, well, I was always a big fat nerd, so that was I was always interested in horror and sci-fi
Big
and
fat
fantasy.
nerd, is that what you call it?
Big fat nerd.
Okay.
And so I was always reading comic books as a kid. Even my work in theater lended itself more towards magical realism and surrealism and a little bit of fantasy. My first play was an adaptation of a Greek tragedy, but there were goddesses appearing and disappearing, so it was very fantastical. So this is just now I'm more filmic in the way that I write horror and fantasy and sci-fi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned in that we just did a podcast live event, you guys, before we started recording the show. You, Robert, scored an amazing Geico national commercial.
Yeah.
That's been still on heavy rotation on the TV.
Yeah, it's still out there.
Can you
thank
explain
God.
who you are in these characters? So
Sure.
people will recognize you.
Yeah, so if you've ever seen the Geico commercial with the barbershop quartet playing basketball, 4-on-4 basketball, I'm in the barbershop quartet. I don't know how to play basketball, so they didn't offer me that role.
I know the commercial. That
yeah,
sounds
do
like
you?
that's of course.
Yeah.
Geico is my insurer.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
How dare you?
Fantastic.
I'm paying for that. I paid for the commercial.
Thank you so much.
It's actually ours too.
Yeah.
But I thought we should have been able to get free Geico
I know,
right?
insurance,
Yeah.
considering you're the
Talk to me
mouthpiece.
about your agreement for the that commercial after this, so I can get
Oh,
some
yeah,
tips for
sure,
next
sure,
time.
Right, right. How was that experience?
It was amazing. So I've done jobs that are union jobs. Before that, I had a few like TV like co-star jobs, which means like small like under 5 lines on a show. And I've also done some new media, which is like web series that are also SAG.
Yes.
But that was my first SAG national commercial.
That's a big deal.
It was a huge deal. I mean, it's pay-wise very different from a non-union situation, which is always nice. But it also just like, you get on that set and it's just so smooth and so
Professional.
pro. And like we were there for, 8 hours, and it was just fun. And
It was filmed in Venice Beach, right?
No, it was on. It was downtown. It was at that was a
beach for some reason.
basketball
Okay.
court next to a school.
Okay.
And I can't remember the name of the school off the top of my head, but it is actually on the YouTube page.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I was like,
Yeah.
can I do that? I had a trailer. I had never had a trailer in my life. I was like, oh my god, I have a trailer.
You felt so important.
It was just really cool. Like, it was like I I felt like I moved up in my career a little bit. So.
Absolutely. Well, you are moving up, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I like to
Come
think.
on,
It's,
you've done a
of
lot.
course.
You've done a lot. So let's speak about why we are here, because we have something really great to talk about. Your new web series that you're creating called Demonhuntr.
Demonhuntr. Yeah.
Demonhuntr. But you guys spell it really interesting. You spell it DEMONHUNTR.
.com.
Right.
That's our website.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the E is missing. Why?
So one of Rob's many talents is he is much better at giving titles to things than I am. I can write a 60-page script, no problem. Trying to come up with a title, it would take me months. So I wrote what has become Demonhuntr, and I knew that I think I even came up with the word Demonhuntr, but that was about it. And it seemed a little generic. But the show centers on an app that these two guys have where you can use it to hire them to come to your home and eradicate whatever demons or ghosts are in your house. And so because it was an app, Rob thought it should be without the E, like Grindr.
Yeah, like right, or Tinder.
Yeah.
That's
Tinder?
right.
I don't know. I've only heard of Grindr.
So, yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
So I don't know what this Tinder is. I only know the important ones.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
And so that's why we spell it without the E.
Got it. So it's a derivative of that.
Yes.
And so you already described the script. So these are two guys that are hired to kill demons that are freaking out or scaring their clients. Whatever.
Exactly.
So clients come out here and say, "I got a demon chasing me. Come get it."
That's exactly
Right.
the plot. Yeah, that's well, not
That's
the plot,
it.
but that's the premise. Yeah, that's the conceit of the show.
But this is a queer web series.
It's queer, women-led, and people of color-led.
right on, honey.
Yeah.
Diversity is
Yeah.
key.
And it's funny because I swear I have nothing against straight white men.
Okay.
There just happen to be no straight white men either in front of or behind the camera. And behind the camera was actually, that just happened. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't do that on purpose. It just, we were looking around one day. There is no straight white man. And the way we figured it out is no one was telling us what to do.
Time's up.
Super shade. I get like my fans shade.
It's so weird. No one in this room thinks the world belongs to them. That's
Oh,
odd.
that's so weird, right?
And half the audience.
so-
I know. Sorry. Just come back. Just kidding.
The time of the
Oh.
straight white man
I was
is
gonna say, I might have just,
nearing
like-
an end.
Let's hope
boys
so.
and
I might have
girls.
alienated
It's,
some of your
You know,
demographic.
but you know
Wow.
what? But you are a gay white man.
It's
Wait,
true.
did I? Oh my God, I am.
Yeah, you are. Both of
Oh,
you are two
good
gay
Lord.
white men.
Yes.
So
It's true.
you know, I'm so glad that you recognize the lack of diversity that is still strong in Hollywood. Let's be honest. I'm
Yeah.
glad that, you know, when we had the Oscars 3 years ago, when it was titled
Oscars So White.
Oscars So White, or whatever, and that really opened up a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
Which is like, why is it opening your minds now when it should have opened your minds 50 years ago?
Thank you.
You know, we
Yeah.
had Hattie McDaniels, who won the first Academy Award, and that was in the 1940s, to Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
So we have 50 years of no other woman of color winning an
Yeah.
Academy Award.
And Hattie couldn't even go to the Academy
And
Awards.
she was
Right.
she couldn't
Because
even
of
go
the Jim Crow
there.
laws.
She had to do a separate ceremony to get
that's so
her
gross,
right.
isn't it?
It's super gross. So Hollywood still has a lot of ways to go in terms of diversity. But when people say diversity, and people say, well, that black actress that got this, no, we're talking inclusivity of all genders,
everyone.
of every community,
Yeah.
from the LGBT community to the people of color.
Right.
And when we talk about people of color, it's not just black people. We're talking about Asians.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Middle Easterns. We're talking about South Americans, Hispanic, Latinos,
Mm-hmm.
everybody who wants to be an actress or an actor or a writer or a playwright or someone behind the scenes or director, whatever.
Yeah.
And it is quite skewed, you know. We have foreign film awards, and I appreciate the foreign film awards. And who just won this last year's awards? You didn't really care for the movie.
Which
Roma.
one? Roma?
Roma.
Roma.
Uh-huh.
And that was from Alfonso Cuarón, right?
Right,
And he won Best
Director.
Director. I applaud that. But it made people upset. You know, they were thinking an American director
Right.
should have won that film.
so
But let's be
ridiculous.
honest, if it's a good pile of work, it's a good pile of work.
Absolutely.
He
Right.
deserves it.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be opening more doors to more people.
That's what we're hoping. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny because like I said, I'm a big fat nerd, so I love genre and I love sci-fi and fantasy. And it's one of those things where there's a lot of genre shows on television that will have people of color, or they'll have queer people, or they'll have women. Well, I think it's better for women in genre than it is for people of color or queer people. But for example, Sabrina is a good example. So Sabrina on Netflix, I love that show.
Never watched it.
It's actually really good.
good.
Yeah, I recommend
Is that
it.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
It is,
Yeah.
but it's like
It's
the
really
dark
dark.
version.
Very
Yeah.
The dark
different.
version?
Yeah,
of it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so one of the main characters is a bisexual black man. One of the other characters is a trans boy, who we first meet as a girl who starts to identify as gender non-binary. And that's wonderful, but they're side characters. And so you have these two queer characters that I don't think they've ever even had a scene together.
Right.
I don't think they've ever spoken to each other. So without throwing too much shade at Sabrina, it does fall a little bit into the realm of tokenism, where you have people from a different experience there to revolve around the straight white lead of the show and her two romantic
That's
interests
true.
who are white men. So it's what we want to do with Demonhuntr is really let for example, like our main character is a gay Asian American man, and then his best friend is a African American straight man. Their manager is a Latinx bisexual witch, because
Why not?
why not? Yeah, and it's very much like that kind of show where we try to bring all sorts of different people together. Women can talk to women about something other than a man, so it passes the Bechdel test. People of color can talk to each other about something
Absolutely.
other than white people.
Hello.
Queer people can talk to each other about something
Thank
other than
you.
straight people. So
When we want water cooler talk, we want water cooler conversations where you actually have 10 people talking about, did you watch that show on the web series the other day about Demonhuntr? And you got all kinds of people talking about it, not just white people, black people,
Right.
and we can't discount all these other shows that have paved
absolutely.
the way.
gosh.
You have to
100%.
give true kudos to people who have paved the way, because this is an ever-evolving genre.
Yes.
Filmmaking, TV making, music, what have you. It's entertainment.
Right, right,
So,
right.
it's nothing's perfect.
Right, yeah.
What could you tell us more about the other actors that are in this web series? And you know what? Let's be honest. Before we go there, many people may not know what a web series is. Explain what that means.
So if you have no money,
Okay.
no, I'm just kidding. A web series is basically it's content that's scripted specifically for the internet, usually shown on YouTube or other streaming
Correct.
services. They tend to be smaller lengths of time for the episode, so you'll have something like a 5 or 10 minute episode as opposed to a half hour or an hour. What's happening now, because Netflix and other streaming services are starting to acquire these shows. So, for example, Special, which was on Netflix, it premiered a couple months ago, I think, and that's about a gay man with cerebral palsy. And
I've heard of that.
It's wonderful. It's
great.
great. I highly recommend it.
He was
but-
actually on RuPaul, the show the
I
other day too. Did you
saw
see
that.
that?
I did,
Did you see
yeah.
that episode?
I did.
Love him.
Oh, my goodness.
He's fantastic, and those episodes are 15 minutes
Yeah, they're
long,
short.
so it feels much more webby than what we're used to seeing. So there's this really interesting kind of blending of those barriers are starting to go away in Hollywood. But a web series right now is something that we design, we shoot ourselves. It's very much on the independent level, and then we put it on some platform to be determined.
And Tim, how did you guys derive first? Both of you were you up in the middle of the night and say, "Hey, babe," or Robert, "Hey, babe, let's create this." How did it literally come to fruition?
There's actually I do remember this one. I will say Rob is always the driving force of us really creating stuff on our own.
Rob, you want to share that?
Oh, well, I had like the fear of God put in me because I was when I first moved to LA, I did one of those long, maybe 4-day acting extravaganza workshop things where it's like a bunch of casting directors and producers and agents and managers come in and you read for them and you Q&As and all that kind of stuff. And all of that was kind of a whirlwind and interesting. But then I also, like, one of the people that kind of stuck with me was guy Jordan, and he was just like, you really, like, the Hollywood isn't what it used to be. You can't just kind of wait around for auditions. You can't wait around to, like, get cast, because that's just not the way things work anymore. You need to make your own stuff, and if you're not making your own stuff, you're not going to get where you want to get in any time.
Where you as the actor have to really create your own.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He really
production.
like hammered that in, and that was like right when I moved here, and so I was like, well, I guess I'll do that. So that's when we started talking about like that first show that we made, Al Malone. But ever since then, we've really just kept creation in mind. Like, what can I make? Like, I work with another sketch group where we write sketches. It's called Sketch Marks. We write sketches and we put them out there and just put stuff out there, create. You just don't know.
You have to be a creative force, and you have to be an actor and a director and a producer, and you have to feed people, and you have to let your apartment be a set. You have to, you really have to do everything, and it helps when you are with somebody that is in the same industry, but in a different capacity. Rob is an actor and I'm a writer, so we both have our strengths that we bring to the table, and we can work on producing. Yeah. But I remember Demonhuntr specifically is we were working on a web series that was produced by friends of ours called Moms Anonymous that we are both in, and this is a stretch. We play a married couple. But this was my real acting.
The big stretch was that we wanted kids.
That's right. I deserved an Oscar for people thinking I wanted a goddamn kid.
The web series Oscars.
The web series Oscars. Although I will say there were some kids on set, and they were adorable.
They were
really cute. But we and I lost more of your demographic. I apologize.
One listener.
One less. And so anyway, we were doing this. We were on set, and we met who is now our very good friend, Ali Rivera, and she just is this. She's such a badass. Like, I want to be Ali when I grow up. And the first project I ever did with her was a horror thing where we had a fight scene. And I was dressed head to toe as a demon, and she was like in this biker chick regalia, and we had a full fight scene, and she was directing. So she's acting, doing her own stunts, and directing at the same time.
Wow.
And I was like, I have to work with her on everything for the rest of my life. So she is playing the Latinx bisexual witch in our show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that the one that in the YouTube season, which we're talking about?
She plays the vampire.
She's the vampire.
Yeah. And
she's got a great body. She works out.
Dude, her body is insane. And it's like, she looks like she's photoshopped. And when you see her in real life, you're like, how is that your real body?
Hashtag goals.
Good for her.
God. Yeah, she looks amazing. But yeah, no, she's great, and she is also a director, so she's directing some episodes of Demonhuntr. So she's just a really wonderful person to work with. Yeah. And I think after we did Moms Anonymous, and we were like, okay, well, we know we want to work with Ali, and Ali enjoys horror and sci-fi and action and stuff. So we're like, okay, well, this would be a good trio. And then my buddy Zach is a really great writer, and he and I speak in like kind of a horror geek shorthand. And his boyfriend James is a super producer, so that's how we got our team of 5.
Cool.
Yeah. So once that team was set,
that 5 looks like you guys act like you've been friends for years, though.
We
kind of have.
Yeah, we have.
Oh.
Yeah, well, we've known Allie for 3
probably about
years,
3 years.
3 or 4. And Zach about the same
great
amount.
team.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to it. So speaking of, the vibe of the actors, how are you fleshing out the story?
Well, that was I started with, as I start with every story, which is, okay, who are the characters,
right?
And what is basically the story that I want to tell. And I knew I wanted to have like a Scooby-Doo kind of scrappy group of kids solving mysteries.
Oh, I'm
that's
so
fun, right? Yeah,
yes.
I mean, it's like, I remember when the Power Rangers movie came out, I was like, this is all I need. I just need like a scrappy bunch of kids solving mysteries. That's my aesthetic.
Yeah.
And so I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to start with the first episode with just the 2 guys. And I really wanted to explore the friendship between a gay man and a straight man, because I feel like that's not a dynamic that we see a lot in fiction.
I know, because everyone thinks it's skewed in real life. Like, how does a gay man and a straight man be friends without any sexual tension?
Exactly. And
it can happen.
Yes, and so many of my friends are straight men. And it's one of those things where, like, they're not weirded out by gay stuff. I'm not secretly in love with them. It's just that we're just friends.
Right.
And so, and it was weird to me that I had never really seen that explored on any kind of fiction.
Because we see the buddy cop movies, the black and white guy, or the white and black, whatever, the Hispanic and the women cop shows. I mean, like, that's fine. but we don't really see the gay and the straight aspect of a buddy show.
Yeah. We've seen like gay men and straight women duos a lot.
Hello,
Yeah.
that's hi.
Yeah, right, of
High
course.
school.
Who have I had the last 6 months of the show? Gay man, gay man.
I wasn't gonna say it. I mean, let's just take a peek
You know
around this
what?
table.
It's so funny because real quick off the cuff, like my friend Heather and other people have said, she's like, you may be the bridge to the gay community because as a straight woman, I have obviously a lot of gay friends in my life, but with
I
gay,
noticed.
yeah, right. But they're extraordinary, and
Thank you.
and maybe I'm deflecting my own community. But sometimes straight people are boring.
You know, I think there is a symbiosis though, because I mean that's how
I gotta find some
a lot of gay men
exciting
feel about
straight
straight
people.
women. That
Yeah.
there's just this kind
They're
of
out there.
fabulosity, and also gay women too.
There's some straight people that are pretty cool out
I
there.
think so.
I mean,
like
I've
me,
heard.
for instance, and Sabrina.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes.
of course.
Right,
Yeah.
of course.
But
it's true though.
It
Like
is
I mean,
kinda true
and I hate
in
to
a
go back to
way.
the RuPaul show, but he had said this. I think RuPaul stole our format. By
Did
the
you
way,
think?
I
Did
think
you
so.
watch the
are you
show?
watching the show?
I have not watched the show
I
yet.
watched the Billy Eichner one and the guy from
Yeah,
Special.
yeah. It's like the format's similar to this.
Okay.
Anyway, they were talking about RuPaul just called it out. He was like, straight people they're boring. It's true.
There are some,
mean,
there are
you-
some really
you-
If you
exciting
go
straight
to a
people.
straight club versus a gay club, who's gonna have the most fun?
Can I tell you something really funny?
Let's be honest.
All right, I'm going to say this really quick. So when Rob and I were getting married, we were talking about, with our friends, they're like, oh, you're going to have a bachelor party. Oh, you guys going to have a bachelor party. You got to do your bachelor party differently, like separately and everything. And so I was talking to my best friend Dakota, who is my best man. She's a woman, but she was my best man. And she's like, do you want a bachelor party? And I went, here's the thing. The stuff that happens at a straight man's bachelor party does not even pale in comparison to a Friday night in WeHo.
It's true.
So
Preach.
believe me that there's
Preach.
nothing
Sure.
special that can happen at a bachelor party that I don't see
Every
weekend.
freaking
Yeah.
Yeah,
weekend.
so I'm like, I'm good. And my bachelor party was Dakota and I went on a hike in Malibu and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
That was your bachelor party.
Yeah, that's what I
Right
wanted.
on,
I just
yeah.
want, because also the
Yeah.
week before your wedding, you just, you see tons of people. I was like, I just want to be alone
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
have my best friend.
Yeah.
Beautiful hike in Malibu.
And the thing that's the straight men that I know are married and they're boring and they're just like
Sorry, straight men.
They're crotchety and they're just like they just want to sit and watch TV and football all day. And I'm like, and I love football myself, but I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
and
what
I
is this
hate
again?
To,
You keep saying that
Yeah,
word.
you brought this
What?
up once before.
football.
I don't.
Sports.
Okay, I'm just gonna play along.
That's
I
one
don't know
word.
what you mean.
Sports.
Okay.
And I don't want to say again. I shouldn't be. Last week, Arnell and Devin called me Edward called me a generalist because I said that I thought that a lot of most of the dancers in the community are gay, and I really thought that was true because they're so artistic and expressionist and everything like that. And shame on me for saying that. But as a straight woman, I love just being in the LGBT community and hanging out because you guys are so accepting too. As well.
It's a pretty welcoming community.
It really is.
Yeah. So I mean,
Maybe I'll be
yeah.
single for the rest of my life because I hang with the gays. I don't know. And maybe I don't care. I don't know. But I have a good time. Anyways, we're getting off the subject.
Okay. Do you want us to talk about it?
Yeah, no, we're good.
Sure?
We're good. I'll see. I'll
Okay.
talk to my therapist
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay.
I can brew
We're
some
good.
tea and we can. Okay.
The core audience. Where do you think the core audience, and how are you going to find an audience that's going to watch this web series?
So I'm gonna say this, and this is something that I only discovered really through the promotional stuff that we've been doing for Demonhuntr. I think the queer community, I think people of color, I think women will really be excited about this project. But what I will say is that I have found that by far the most welcoming group of people is the horror community. The horror fans show up. They go to see indie movies. They go to the theaters. They support things. They tweet about it.
We've
They're
had
great.
such wonderful experiences talking with people from horror communities.
I wonder why.
And it's it's funny. I think kind of like the freaks are attracted to horror. I was a freak when I was in high school, so I loved horror. And because of that, when you get a bunch of freaks together and they've all felt kind of on the outside, then there's one of two ways that they can go, which is that they can be awful and just as awful as everybody else has been to them, or it can be the opposite, which is they're like, hey, we're all freaks, come on in.
Yeah.
And like the gay thing has never really like
That's welcoming and that's encouraging.
Yeah.
So because of the maybe the nerd effect of horror, the fantasy effect of horror, they felt maybe shunned from the quote unquote normal kids.
Yeah.
And so they created their own horror community, and they could talk about Friday the 13th
Yeah.
or Elm Street or whatever it is.
Because they love this
They
stuff.
love it, and
Yeah.
so they're going to welcome people who maybe have been shunned from other communities.
I think so.
That's really
It's
interesting.
really wonderful. It's actually very beautiful
Yeah.
for a
That's
group of people
awesome.
that are super into like beheading and stuff. They're very beautiful, and it's like, they never
Right.
seem phased by like, because if you just go to a bunch of straight people and we're like, hey, do you want to watch this queer project? And they're like, no, thank you. But if it's a queer horror project, you can give it to straight horror people, and they'll be like, I'll watch it. I just want to be scared. I don't care if the main
You wanna be
characters are
scared.
gay. I just want it to be scary, and I want to get those thrills of watching a
Yeah.
horror movie.
Okay.
And they're not bothered at all by gay content.
Will there be naked people in this web series?
Maybe.
So if it's a web series, how is it rated?
It's
Is it
not.
rated?
Oh no, it's the Wild West.
So you mean, children will be able to access
No.
the show? or what?
No. Well, first of all, if it ends up being on a platform like YouTube,
Right.
there are age restrictions.
Yes, there is.
Obviously, there's only so much you can do to keep
Right.
children's eyes
Right.
off of that
Right.
stuff. I also am. I mean, I don't want to alienate even more of your demographic, but I'm kind of thinking maybe be more worried about scary monsters than seeing somebody's butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
penis?
TBD. We'll
That's
yeah.
To be determined.
To be dicked.
To be dicked.
To be dicked. I will say that in some of the earlier drafts, it does call for nudity.
Right.
The thing is, storytelling wise, you can always kind of not do it, but imply it. On the other hand, sometimes you gotta give people a little extra in order to get eyeballs on your project.
Well, the two characters, and this is why I made 2 comments on your Instagram this week,
our
are
two lead guys.
incredibly handsome.
They are.
And I'm like, wait a minute, why are you always showing that he's a gorgeous man? Please look it up, Marina.
Yeah,
Why
they
are
are.
these gorgeous men half naked?
They're so beautiful.
For a reason.
Well, they're
trying to
half
make
naked
money.
because
Ladies,
we're trying
I said
to
half naked.
yes,
Men, I said half naked.
right. They're half naked so that we can
Gorgeous.
get people to donate money to our crowdfunding campaign.
Let's be honest.
And I will say they are such good sports,
They
but
are.
if I looked like them, you could not pay me to put a shirt on. I would just walk around naked all the time. They are so handsome.
They are
And
very, very handsome.
I also want to say that they're really fantastic actors,
Yeah.
and we cast them without seeing them shirtless or anything.
Yeah, no, that wasn't
they were-
part
no,
of
no,
it.
that wasn't part of the audition.
That wasn't part of the casting
No,
couch.
there's no
No.
casting couch.
Hashtag me too.
Yeah.
Hello.
None of that. None of that.
No.
None of that.
What are their names?
Yeah, what are the names?
So Daniel's played by Edmund Truong, and Jeremy is played by Tamario Fletcher.
Yes.
Okay,
They're such great guys. They're so nice.
let's take a break. Edward, I'm hungry.
I'm always hungry.
What do you feel like having for dinner today?
Always pizza.
Ma's Italian Kitchen.
Boom.
Let's look them up. They're in Burbank, California.
Oh, easy.
You ready to go?
Yes.
Ma'sItalianKitchen.com and tell them Queen ShanShan sent ya. During our commercial break, Marina was actually speaking about how children could really, love the opportunity to watch the show as well. Why is that?
I'd
Teenagers.
say maybe in the older
Yes,
realm of teenagers.
What is your thoughts about that, Marina?
Well, my 15-year-old, right? And we were talking about shows like Riverdale and things like that. They love that stuff. And they're surrounded by friends who might be struggling with identity issues, any types, right? And I mean, it's in their home field, right? They're on the web already. So
Right.
web series, horror flicks, they love them, and like you were talking about earlier about nudity versus horror, I'd be more concerned with the horror aspect than
Then watching
Yeah.
scenes of butt.
Yeah. Now, like Tim said, they're 15, so they're on the older side. I do have 13-year-olds as well, and
That might be a little young for us.
Yeah,
they,
me too,
they
yeah.
watch like the 100. I don't know if you,
Yeah.
which I disapprove of, but there they go. Every time I leave the house,
They're watching something
they're-
that you don't approve of.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But
And we're not here to
they would
encourage
love
that.
No,
Right.
no. And I don't think what you're describing is like the 100 at all. But I hope.
No,
I
it's
don't
like
know.
no, it's not. But
Okay.
it's a little racier.
It's
So I
racier.
just don't want to encourage.
Well, then
it's
we're
Let's
the
say
okay
3,000.
18 and
with
up.
that.
Let's say 18 and up.
18 and up. It's a mature topic.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Mature audience.
There's a lot of people having sex on our show.
Oh, okay. Then there you go.
But
Yeah.
they see it.
I know. I was gonna say
Yeah.
anything that we could shoot because we're also
There are
very
other
like.
shows that-
Yeah.
We're going to be very attentive to
Right.
make sure that all of the actors are very
Hashtag
comfortable
sex.
and
Okay.
it's never exploitative. So
Okay.
Right.
Let's talk about the crowdfunding efforts because that's really what I want to get into. The hot tea of how we're going to pay for this, because that's what you guys need. You need some help. You need some money.
yeah,
Yes.
So
we
tell
do.
us, how are you doing that?
do you want to say?
Sure. So we made the decision to do crowdfunding for a couple of reasons. One is like you need money to make something happen, right? And if people are interested in something, ideally they'll want to throw a little money towards it to see it happen. But the other thing, it also helps build an audience before you even make the project.
Right.
So there's an element where, Demonhuntr didn't exist on the internet 15 days ago before we started. And now, we have followers. We're here doing interviews about Demonhuntr. It's cool. So, basically, we knew what we needed. Allie, who we mentioned, is a line producer, and she's like, I think we can make 7 episodes at $36,666, which is very shoestring as far as Hollywood goes, right? And so that's what we're gunning for. And we had a really great first week of crowdfunding where we made like $10K like in 5 days.
Awesome.
And then, the middle of the campaign, it just kind of plateaus. So
Yes.
Which is
now-
what happens for every
which
campaign.
is very common.
What are the stats
So,
on that though? Where is it coming from? Is it coming from friends and family, or is it coming from just complete
It
strangers?
starts out friends and family,
Uh-huh.
and then it kind of has transitioned into a mix of that and strangers. So, like people who have seen, like an article on us, or people who have seen us tweeting about
Right,
it, or
follow
our
us on Twitter.
videos, and they just really like it, and they're
Yes.
excited.
I'm excited.
It's a
Right.
very beautiful thing for somebody
Yeah.
to have just heard about your project, which is not even made yet.
Right.
And maybe see just a little promotional material and they say, oh, I really want to see this. I'm going to throw them $50.
Yeah.
They're just strangers on
Yeah.
the internet. It's a
Right.
really amazing
Well,
thing.
I applaud the marketing. I mean, I contributed money to you guys.
yes, you did.
Yes,
Thank you.
of course I did. I want to help.
Yeah,
If I could be a part of this amazing project, something that people may talk about years from now, Shannon was involved in that. Absolutely.
Right.
And the same
Thank
goes
you.
to here for the podcast. If you guys could contribute, any type of my contribution to Ask for Everybody is talk about my show.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you guys share it, and you tweet about it, and you Instagram it, and you Facebook it. That's
Right.
what I love. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate
Yes.
that. But I know you need money.
Yes, we
Right,
need
we
money.
do.
We need
We
money.
do.
So I wanted to make sure that all you broads listening out there, we want to make sure we contribute to this amazing new fund. How do people find your information on Demonhuntr?
Sure. So you can go to www.demonhuntr.com, no E in Hunter, so DEMONHUNTR.com, and that takes you to our Seed and Spark page. Seed and Spark is the platform that we're crowdfunding on. It's basically like Kickstarter, where it's an
Right.
all or nothing situation, but it's very focused on inclusive indie film and TV.
Diversity.
And
Yeah.
So they even offer us like special like filmmaker rewards when we get a certain number of followers, which we've already unlocked the first tier because we got
Oh,
like
great.
250 followers.
Yeah.
But we get even more at 500 and 1,000 followers. So even a free follow helps. But if once you go to that page,
There you go.
demonhunter.com, you can look at all of our incentives. We have like different perks you get for
Yep.
donating at different levels.
I
Like
got a perk. I forgot what my perk was
Oh, which
called.
one?
I got
Yeah.
$100.
Oh, what was that?
that?
That
What
is
was
that's the early access.
It's early access, so you get to see the
whole
show
series.
before anybody else.
Oh, cool.
But you also get like a zine of artwork.
Yeah, you get artwork. Blooper reel.
Blooper reel.
A
You get
free
your name
wig.
credits.
Yeah.
Free wig.
Yeah.
That's for the
By the way-
$2,000 contribution.
Speaking of wigs, I will have all kinds of wigs for you guys if you guys need it.
We do,
Oh,
because Rob
fantastic.
plays Rob's character is a telepath, but he masquerades as a psychic who does seances, who looks like kind of a goth, like Chris Angel type. So
Ooh.
we will need like a black
I
light.
always give all the wigs to my friends, obviously my boys,
Amazing.
my friends, because obviously they want it for Halloween or they
Yeah.
need it for
Yeah.
a drag show or something like that. So I can donate all my
Oh
used
my
wigs to you
gosh,
guys, and you will
yes.
have a plethora of choices.
Do we have a wish list for our for costuming?
I'm sure we could probably put it into something, but that is another point. Is like if you are somebody who lives local to Los Angeles or at least close enough, the Seed and Spark has a special element to their crowdfunding where there's a wish list. So we have literally broken down our entire $36,666 budget into the items that we actually need to get this done. And if you have any of those things, you can actually loan it, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes, you can't see that. And we can assign a monetary value to that, and that actually goes towards our total.
You put a list on actually today on Facebook that
Of
you're looking
locations.
for. So
Yes.
can we read upon that? Unless you have that.
I have it
online.
memorized.
Can you have it? What are you looking? Let's put it out there in the universe.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
So
the broads are listening because again we have now 35 countries listening.
Yes.
We have 35 countries listening to this show. So all you broads out there, if you guys want to participate in this amazing effort and be a part of a production, this is what they need now.
So this 35 countries is wonderful, but this does need to be within a 6-hour drive of LA. Just FYI. 'Cause if somebody has a bar in Myanmar, I don't think we can bring our
If
own
the
people.
prince from Sri Lanka or someone from Abu Dhabi says we want to fund you, come film in Abu Dhabi or frickin'
Well, of course
Of
we would do
course.
that. Yeah, of course we would.
So Sex in the City.
Yeah.
It's very
Very
Sex and the
Sex and
City,
the
right?
City.
So the locations we're looking for are a 2-story house that can accommodate a fight scene. So basically something that has a large enough living room.
Okay.
We're looking for a bar. We're looking for a house in Palm Springs with a pool, or a house with a pool that looks like it's in Palm Springs. A warehouse or a warehouse-like open space, several apartments, nothing too fancy, and then a nicely furnished suburban living room.
Okay.
So just that.
And because that's a lot of the location
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you're writing the script for.
Right, exactly. So those are the scenes that a lot of the scripts take place in. And so rather than, let's say we could rent a bar for, $3,000 for 2 nights or something. So rather than somebody giving us $3,000 and then we use that to rent the bar, somebody with a bar can just say, you can use my bar for 2 nights, and then we get $3,000 closer towards our monetary goal.
understand.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Well,
Seed and Spark is wonderful.
I posted that link, and I actually tagged some people who own homes. My friend, maybe Michelle, if you're listening, Ma's Italian Kitchen, because his restaurant's in Burbank,
Oh.
and it's a bar and a restaurant. I mean, I can text him as well and see if he might be able to donate some time to the bar, because he has they have some closed time during lunch times, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's good.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But you guys listen out there. If you guys can help some 2 great actors and film writers here, we're all here to help each other. We really want to spread that love and inclusivity and create a true community of love. Right?
Yeah.
This is a reason why we do the podcast, y'all. It's not just about, travel, food, beauty, and culture. It is about really getting all communities together.
I love that.
That's a good question.
Yeah, of course you can ask a question, Marina.
Yeah, so seed and spark. Okay, there's that. But how about like hashtags or ads? Like that's why I started looking on my phone and I don't know.
That was
Is there a
actually.
hashtag?
No, hey, I'm the host here.
Oh,
I'm the host. This is my show. Marina comes to my house to try to take over my show.
oh my gosh, she just snatched her wig off.
I'm so sorry.
Do not let me throw up this wig in your face right now. That was my next question. How do people find you on the social media?
So social media, our Twitter handle is Demonhuntr Show. So it's DemonHuntrShow. Our Instagram is Demonhuntr Series, which is DemonHuntrSeries. And then Facebook, it's just Demonhuntr. So it's facebook.com/Demonhuntr. And if you want to find our Seed and Spark page, and please do, it's just go to demonhuntr.com, and that will take you to our Seed and Spark page.
Yeah.
I will also list this in the liner notes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So this will be on the the newsletter. This will be on obviously on all the ABroad podcast social media as well.
Great.
Because I've already been pimping you guys up because
You've been
gonna
so
be on,
wonderful.
Thank you. You're going to be on the show, so I wanted to get the crowd and get the audience knowing who was going to be on the show. So and hopefully you're getting a couple pennies from it. I hope so.
Hope so. Not gonna be.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So let's take another break and get into some more demon hunting.
Demon hunting.
Is your backyard looking janky? Does your front yard need a facelift? Trust, I hear ya. Mine did, and I got mine done at RB Paving and Landscape just a couple of months ago. This is a contractor you really can trust. Call them for a free quote. Ask for Ruben or Priscilla at 760-947-4191. RB Paving and Landscape specializes in all asphalt, concrete, and landscape needs. They serve the greater Los Angeles areas, San Bernardino County, and high desert areas. Call them today and tell them Queen ShanShan sent you. Hunty! You wanted to mention a key actress as well, another key actress in your web series.
Oh yeah, Kara, because we hadn't brought her up yet, but Kara Mitsuko is playing Quinn, and she was just one of the other actors that came into our audition, and she just nailed her audition, and she's playing a sort of bitingly sarcastic lesbian stoner private eye.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and so I
magic
have a
tricks.
feeling she might be a fan favorite
Yes,
character. Yeah,
I think so.
She's really cool.
Well, welcome, Kara. I cannot wait to see all your people, all the team.
They're so great.
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we get into other topic, real quick, when will production begin on this?
Well, the plan is after we get our funding, we're going to go right into pre-production for the summer, and then we're going to launch into production probably around the middle of September,
Okay.
so in the fall.
And then to launch it will be to 2020, possibly January,
I think
February.
so. Well,
After editing.
Oh, girl, that always takes longer than we think.
Really?
So if we shoot in September, it's much more realistic. It would probably be the summer of 2020.
That
Post-production
long, huh?
is always a deceptively brutal and very long process.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of obviously getting the right editor, and obviously there's so much money that goes into
There is,
post-production because
Yeah.
of the editing and then like any sort of sound mixing and then
Right.
coloring and special effect or VFX.
People don't think about the coloring. I don't think about
Right.
coloring
It's
when
a
Right.
big part of
you
it.
think it's whatever you see on the camera that's how you shoot it. That's the coloring of the show.
Right.
There are people that specialize solely
Exactly.
in coloring. That's why colorist is such a big
Wow.
term now, yeah.
So yeah, and we want it to be as good as it can be. So we're
Absolutely.
gonna
Of
take
course,
that time.
you're not going to put any crap out there.
Right. No, we don't want to rush anything. We want
Good.
to take our time, make sure we give a really good
Okay,
product.
so we're looking at a good year process for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a long way to go, but we're going to build that
Yes.
and help it grow.
Right, and we will also probably continue to put out little vignettes like we
Yeah.
have been
Please,
because
please
we've
do.
been really having a lot of fun doing
I'm enjoying.
that.
Also, when you guys follow them on Instagram, I'm enjoying the cartoons and the animations
Oh yeah.
that lead up to the kind of story that you're trying to create. I think that is so smart.
I
That's
drew
very
one of
good.
those cartoons.
So when you guys follow them on Instagram, they'll have these like cool little animation and cartoons that talk about genre and the horror genre, the making of some sort of the character building. That's so smart, you guys. Good for you.
thank you.
We do have to give credit where credit's
Yes.
due. We hired a campaign director, this woman named Leah Savoli, who has been running our ship, and she
Yeah.
is a pro. So, is it okay if we?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So, if anybody is going to crowdfund, I highly suggest working with her, and I guess we can put her information in
Absolutely.
the line.
I believe it's
Absolutely.
Greenlight Your Passion Project.
That is it. Greenlight Your Passion Project.
And
Yeah.
especially if you're trying to go for like a bigger number, I really recommend working with her because
Yeah.
crowdfunding is deceptive. You don't realize how much work goes into like the 2 months before you even start the campaign, and
Really?
then the
Yep.
month itself.
You just think it's just like get on the website,
Yeah.
contact people, and there it is.
I mean,
But
we had a
Oh, no.
calendar. We had like a whole list of things that we had to have prepared.
Wow.
and
It
ready
is
to
a
go.
24/7 job.
It's a huge job, and I mean, we're happy doing it, and
Yeah,
we're
oh,
excited
yeah.
to be doing it, but it's deceptive.
it's
Yeah.
deceptive. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the gay Hollywood machine real quick.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Is there a few months back when me and Edward started the show, we had a topic of gay mafia, and Edward speaks on it that it actually exists.
It does.
And do you feel that there is a gay mafia out there in Hollywood, or the gay Hollywood machine that kind of blocks certain people or inhibits a certain type of community, which is kind of hypocritical? Because if we're trying to talk inclusivity,
Yeah.
why would they block other people or shun other people away or hire certain people as well?
I think Hollywood, no matter if you're gay or straight or black or white or a man or a woman, but mostly men because men are terrible, Hollywood is run by the almighty buck.
Yeah.
And every decision that's made is made for the bottom line.
Yeah.
And that's not so much true on the indie level where Rob and I are working right now, but on the higher ups, it absolutely is. And I remember there was this big kerfuffle when Tim Allen's show was canceled. I don't remember what it was called. What is it called? Tim Allen's show?
Oh,
Best Man or whatever.
It's not the Home Improvement show.
No, the new one.
Yeah.
Oh, the one where he was a family man.
Yeah,
and everything.
something.
I thought that was on for a while.
It was.
I never
and then
watched
it kinda-
one episode.
I don't know, but I mean, like we all know that he's a douchebag, right? And so,
Hot take.
is that even a hot take?
I'm gonna get all the haters
You can edit this part out.
of Tim Allen. I've heard about he's
Right.
not a really nice person. But
Right, he's not, and he's he's extraordinarily conservative, and I'm not saying all conservatives are douchebags, just most of them, and so anyway, his show was canceled, and then there was this whole thing about like liberal Hollywood, attacked him because he's conservative. Here's the deal: if his show was making a lot of money, they would have kept that on, no matter what his political
Either
affiliations
way,
were saying. Right.
and speaking of, because he did make his millions upon millions when he had
Totally.
the Home Improvement show. That
And-
was a huge hit.
And I
For
was a
what,
kid of the
7,
90s.
8
I watched that
seasons?
show.
Me
Sure.
too.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah,
We
I
loved
loved
that
that show.
show.
I used
Yeah.
to do the growling all the time. Yeah. But he's the worst Tim I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Well, with that being said, that actually opens up another question for me on a political scene, and we don't to get too Democrats, liberals, conservatives, Republicans, but the liberal machine runs Hollywood too.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Oh no, I think creative people tend to skew towards a more liberal affiliation.
right.
Look
Look at James Woods. He hasn't had
Yeah.
a job in years, but he blames the elite, the liberal elite, about
Right.
that. But he also is a douchebag too.
right.
And very conservative. He's on Twitter saying all kinds of nasty things about blacks, gays, women.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And he's just
Yeah.
a dick.
Yeah.
But so who would want to work with that anyway?
Right.
James Woods is a good actor. I mean, I liked his other movies and his other shows. He's one of my, the Disney movie he did with Hercules. I love his voice that he contributed on Hercules.
Oh yeah. He was Hades in Hercules.
He was Hades,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But he's not a nice person.
Right.
And regardless if you're a Republican or a liberal, you still want to work with people that are nice,
Yeah,
that are cool.
Well, it's like Roseanne,
Right,
because she was
good point.
like, I can see from the outside how when she was in her show in its heyday in the 90s, and she was outspokenly liberal, or at least seemingly liberal, and her show was a success, and she comes back and
Which we
she's
love. We watch every Thursday.
so good.
We
Wasn't
watched
that show
Roseanne
so good?
It was so
Yeah.
great.
It was such a good show.
awesome show.
And Laurie Metcalf
Yeah,
and
right.
John
Phenomenal.
Goodman. Oh god, the three of them together were amazing.
Yes.
And then she comes back and she's now conservative and a
Right.
Trump voter and all this stuff. And then her show fails, and then she gets kicked off. And people are saying, oh, it's because Hollywood, they don't want conservative outlooks or anything.
She's got a big mouth.
She had a
and what
big mouth.
and
She called
what
Valerie
tweeted,
Jarrett
yeah.
a word that you're
Right.
not supposed to say.
Right.
And the thing is, that is toxic to a show. When you do that kind of thing, when your star is misbehaving and they're slinging racial slurs out on Twitter, people are not going to watch your show. So ABC canceled her because they're like, no, we will lose money.
But let's take it
Right.
to another level.
Yeah.
Jesse Smollett.
Oh,
Gay
God.
black man on a famous show, Empire, on
yeah.
Fox, which is a conservative studio, well, supposedly. And now you got, with Roseanne, she ruined people's jobs.
Yeah.
Jesse Smollett could have ruined people's jobs as well. These studios hire 300 or 400 people
Right.
on a show. It's not just a couple. It's not just the actors that are getting paid. These are crew.
Totally.
So everybody's affected by your Twitter account, your Instagram, what you put out in the social media.
Yeah.
And in Jesse Smollett's case, he did something that backfired on him.
yeah.
And then
So
it could
weird.
have also ruined the show Empire. And it kind of has, because no one is really watching it. Now, right now, they're in hiatus.
They are in hiatus.
They're in hiatus
yeah.
right now. So who knows what is going to happen on the next production for the new series.
From what I understand, he has
season.
been taken off.
No.
Yes, yes.
No, he has
not
been taken
returned.
off.
I thought he had.
Officially, I thought that he
Yeah.
is
He's not
going to be
coming
on...
Yeah, no.
Oh, he won't be back in the next season.
Yeah. See, I had heard that
Interesting.
because, again, that's the same principle that he has become a toxic element.
Toxic element.
And so if he
Right.
is on the show, they know that they will lose viewers. So
Right.
they just, they
Yeah.
cut out that tumor.
Would you, if you were studio exec, Tim and
Yeah.
Rob, what would
Hold
you
on,
do?
wait, I'm drunk with power. Wait, I get to fire people?
You are
Oh my
the
god,
next-
I have been preparing
you-
for this my whole life. Everyone's fired.
You get to hit on women, and make them
Oh,
uncomfortable.
do I
and
have to
stuff.
hit on women?
Yeah, you have to do that.
All right, I don't want this job anymore.
Right. You are the next Katzenberg. What's his name? The guy.
Katzenberg.
You are the next Les Moonves.
You're the next.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
We don't want to compare anyone to Les Moonves.
No.
If you guys don't know who Les Moonves is, just hashtag him.
Google
to
it.
see
Yeah.
What a douchebag he is.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll just say you're the next executive of so and so studios.
Yeah.
What would be your environment that you would create for all the actors and crew and grips and directors and scriptwriters? What would be your environment that you want to create?
I would make sure that every day begins with everyone worshiping me. And that would take approximatally, let's say, 6 hours.
Yeah.
We would get a solid
One
hour
by
of
one.
work done.
What is that?
One
Your
by
name's
one.
Michael Bay? Okay.
Oh, that is some shade! Woo!
Oh man!
Damn, we just got some
It's
serious shade in here
The
from
tea is
Edward.
hot.
No, I'll be honest. Like, I think that there's room for all different types of mentalities and all different types of philosophies. But I will say this, and this is going to sound super hokey, and I apologize. But one of the first anti-gay comments that we got on Demonhuntr was from this troll who and I wrote a whole big thing about it, and and I'm trying to put it to bed. And I'm not saying this to like keep that going, but he, it was just this guy who was really angry that there were people that were making a series that he never has to see. He was just mad that we were making a series about gay people and queer people and women of color and people of color and stuff. And he was so angry that it just existed. Yeah. And, it's one of those things where if they're so far past the if you don't like it, don't watch it mentality, because they just literally want it to not exist, which is a very extreme thing to do. And, it's one of those things where the only way to combat something like that is really to just put as much love as you can out there in the world. That sounds so hokey, I swear to God.
It's not hokey.
I'm not like trying to be Miss America, but it's like,
But he is, though.
but I am a little bit.
We want that buzz. Did you respond to him?
I didn't. And
did you delete the comment?
No, I didn't.
Really? You put the comment out there?
Yeah, I kept it there because
Wow.
I want people to be able to see it, and I want people to know that, we live in a very inclusive bubble. Mm-hmm. As an adult, I've only lived in New York City and Los Angeles. So my group of friends has always been very ethnically diverse.
Yes.
It's always been every stripe of the queer rainbow.
Yes.
I've always had a lot of girlfriends. I forget a lot of the time that there are people who live in a red state, and it's supported by everyone around them, that you can say something like, I don't want to see this gay shit, stop trying to shove this down our throat. Like, it's actually shocking. And I will say for an hour, I was totally obsessed with him, and I went to his Facebook page. I was like, who is this guy? I want to know everything about him so I can hate him with more knowledge.
Yeah, me too.
And,
Right.
and, it was kind of exactly what you would expect, which is, he has like a Trump 2020 hat, and he worked in a bike shop or whatever.
Of course.
But yeah, I figure we're never going to reach people like that. But if we put out a message that whoever you are, whatever you identify as, you do get to see somebody who looks like you on screen.
Right.
And you deserve to see that.
Absolutely.
And we just want to help people do that. And I figured that's the only thing that we can do is put that out there and say you are loved. And
they were putting the kibosh on the gay mafia thing then, right?
Well, so the gay mafia is that when you can't break in? I don't know.
So
It's a myth. It's a myth.
We're not
Yeah, if
successful
there's a
enough.
gay mafia, they haven't asked us to join.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Edward, what are your thoughts?
I've worked at those levels, so
Yeah.
I know that they exist.
I believe it.
I believe it. I do.
totally believe it.
Yeah, but no, we want to give a chance for everybody. That's really what
Yeah.
we're trying to do.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that, definitely. More after this amazing commercial.
Queen ShanShan, I hear you have a date tonight.
Why, yes, I do. And we're actually looking for a place to eat for dinner tonight. Any suggestions?
Yes, I know the perfect place. Ma's Italian Kitchen.
Great idea. They have an amazing seared salmon plate, grilled New York steak, and also baked chicken parmigiana.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You know what? I gotta tell them Queen ShanShan sent me. Hunty! So it is official. It's been a week since Madonna has released her newest 14th studio album, Madam X, and I have really been enjoying it. Edward is out of his seat enjoying it. And I want to know what the public was thinking about or has thought about it. And I know you've read up on this, Edward. So what
Of
is
course
the
I have.
tea on Miss Madam X?
Okay, it's a mixed bag on the reviews.
Ooh.
Okay, but like they're really one-sided or the other. So it's like amazing, and the other side is like it's terrible.
Ooh.
But if you listen to it like over and over, it's like genius.
Mm-hmm.
It is very much her, Bohemian Rhapsody moment where she doesn't give an F anymore, and she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna make music for myself, and if you happen to like it, that's good.
Yeah.
It's gonna sell seats. It's on the news this week that she and Springsteen are reinventing like how things are gonna be made in the future, because these like Madonna doesn't like to call it residencies because she thinks that sounds old and like something that her counterparts
Like Celine
would
Dion,
do,
Janet
and she
Jackson,
would never do.
Right.
But they're saying like so she's gonna have her concert in a theater, in like theaters, like
All these small theaters.
1,800 to 2,500 like seats
Yeah,
only.
like the Wiltern here in LA, where she's be here a couple days in November, right?
Right. And so she's doing, like 10 days.
Oh,
So
it's
she's
10
doing
days in LA?
Like 10 days here. She's doing like 25 in BAM and Brooklyn. Is that the
Ooh.
theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And, the big cities around the country. And instead of, there was an article that did the math on it. And they were like, well, if she is able to sell these concerts out and these venues, she's going to make more money than she would doing stadiums.
These tickets were expensive.
Because they're like the fans
Yes.
at one
Yeah.
of these shows,
Yes.
and we're going to be in a concert, only 1,800 people in the room
Versus 18,000.
with Madonna
Yeah.
and her like tribe
Right.
of people that she brings to see
Right.
this show. So the article was kind of raving about that, but the other articles, the naysayer articles, are definitely out there. But she's had that since she was 17 years old,
Yeah.
so what's new?
That's what's new.
Yeah.
I'm when I said that the venues are 18,000 versus 1,800 because all we've seen Madonna is these big, huge,
Stadiums.
venues.
Yeah.
Staples Center.
Yeah.
I've seen her in San Diego, the Qualcomm. And you're a mile away if you can't afford a front row ticket. So I'm super excited
Stoked.
to see her in face to face. Like if I be 100 feet from her, that'd be amazing.
Yes.
And pay that ticket.
Yeah.
And pay that ticket. I think that ticket would be worth it.
Gotta rob a bank.
Real quick though,
Yeah, yeah.
favorite Madonna
Yeah, what's your
songs.
favorite
Let's go around the table.
songs? Tim?
It's a hard choice, but I'm gonna say actually Ray of Light.
Yeah.
Because I was a little baby gay, like I don't think I was even out to anybody, but I heard that song and I knew the stereotype that gay men liked Madonna, but I didn't really understand it that much. And it was the 90s and there was a lot of techno, and then I heard Ray of Light. I went, oh my god, I'm now gay. I like hatched out of my
Madonna
gay
made you
egg.
gay.
Madonna
Yeah,
needs to
Light
hear
made
that. Madonna,
Yeah.
are you listening? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I
loves
and I haven't turned back since.
That's an amazing
yeah.
song.
Fair enough.
It's
It's a
such
great
a good
song.
song.
So
It's
good.
a good song.
It makes me happy every time I hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Robert, what's your favorite?
I'm super basic. I like a prayer.
Yeah.
And that was again the first one that I had heard, and I just really got into the gospel element of
Yes.
it. So I think because I also have always liked singing, group singing, and like chorus and stuff. So I think I just like really glommed onto that at that age. And so it remains my favorite song of hers.
And Marina, what is your favorite Madonna song?
That's so hard. How did y'all just pop up? I don't know. So I love Truth or Dare. I loved all that, but
The concert, you mean?
the
movie.
all
The
movie,
yeah.
The documentary.
And all the music, obviously, that came along with it. But I feel like I want to lean toward Vogue.
Yes.
Sure. Oh, of
Because
course.
it's
That's
so
a solid
like-
one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a dancer, and I felt it. I'm like, yes.
Definitely a good one.
Jumping around on my couch.
Yes, absolutely. And I appreciate Pose. Last week's premiere talked about Madonna and how she
Yeah.
was helping the whole Pose movement, the voguing movement at the time. So, Madonna, if you're listening, I can't wait to have you on my show. You deserve to be on
gonna
the
be
show.
here.
Come on, Madge.
Come on, Madge.
With her X patch on.
Come on.
Yes.
I would love it. Speaking of that, she's going to be, this show is going to air on Tuesday, but tonight she's going to be on Jimmy Fallon. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
tonight.
Oh, I'll
right?
watch
Yeah,
that.
tonight. Yeah.
Love her.
So,
Yep.
so that's your Madonna Minute. So, from time to time, we have Florida is a state that sometimes the United States is a little embarrassed about, right?
Yeah. Sometimes.
And Texas. But you know what? Florida has been beating out Texas for a while these last few years, correct?
Yeah.
I think ever since the Bush elections that Florida's just been, come on. Florida, why Florida?
Why Florida?
So here's a story that I saw that actually made the news on Fox, of course, of all news outlets. A Florida man is facing a misdemeanor charge for allegedly pouring ketchup on his girlfriend while she slept. And the court documents show Peter Wagman is facing a first-degree misdemeanor, not a felony, but a misdemeanor domestic battery charge for the encounter that took place last Sunday. And the reason why she was sleeping, he poured ketchup on her because he felt that she was cheating on him. Okay.
But that's a misdemeanor assault?
That's a misdemeanor assault.
Just pouring ketchup on somebody
Yeah.
when they're sleeping.
According to the arrest report.
That's a food fight. That's not a misdemeanor.
Well, maybe she was asleep. It's not
According
fine.
to the arrest report, Wagman's girlfriend of 11 years told investigators she woke up in the middle of the night to find Wagman pouring ketchup on her and cursing at her. Heather King told investigators that they had been arguing over her infidelity before she went to sleep. Oh. The report says she was covered in ketchup.
Wow.
Wagman denied that allegation, although the report says there was ketchup on his pants.
All right.
He denied that he was doing it.
I never want to blame the victim. However, if you're going to argue about infidelity and then go right to bed, you sleep with one eye open.
Hello?
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there a Demonhuntr episode in that somewhere?
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Some kind of
Something.
ketchup demon.
Yeah.
demon.
What about a mayonnaise demon?
Oh,
no.
ew.
All right.
I prefer Miracle Whip.
Ew.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Well, that's your why, Florida, why moment. Part of the things we also do, you guys, is we have the Wiglet of the week, which is just an observation that I've noticed online or in the culture that we're living in, TV, news, what have you, things that make me think as well, like something that may be inspiring that we want to talk about, something that's just funny and silly. And this is a topic that me and Edward, you and I talked about 2 podcasts ago about the Game of Thrones, the season finale, and how some people loved it and some people hated it.
So everybody's a TV producer now.
Everybody is a TV producer.
Everybody
Yeah,
is.
because that's what you do, right?
You're right.
So I was actually tweeted a correction when I said it on the show that there was 50,000 subscribers that wrote to HBO screaming at HBO that they want a new season 8.
Yes.
That they were very upset that the directors and writers, David Benioff, and I forgot who his partner is.
J.D. Weiss?
JD Weiss,
yeah.
that they screwed up the whole thing, and they were like, they better not script Star Wars. Anyways, well, that's a whole different story because they're writing.
Oh, we're gonna tweet about that too.
We're gonna tweet about that too. Like people freaking get life. So speaking about people getting a life, this person said, "Sorry, Shannon, you're incorrect. It wasn't 50,000. It wasn't 50,000 petitioners. It was 1.6 million."
Oh my God.
So you mean to tell me that 1.6 million and more wrote to HBO? Complaining that they want a whole new season 8 because they weren't feeling season 8. They were upset with the finale. Now, these angry fans took to this change.org, this website, where you have to literally sit down on your computer, create a username and password. You took that much effort to go create a username and password to write to HBO to say you didn't like season 8. It doesn't end there. Speaking of petitions, there's another petition right now going to Warner Brothers to petition Robert Pattinson to be removed for being the new Batman.
They haven't even seen him.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my point is like, I want to say to the dorks of the world, come on, get your life together. If you guys have if you have that much energy to literally sit down and write to Warner Brothers, HBO, this is TV, this is not real life. Mm-hmm. I understand people embrace entertainment and they make it their own. But if you're going to bring that energy, bring it to an energy to where we actually are voting this idiot out of office.
Oh, thank you.
Bring it to an intention that we want to talk about the Sudan uprising of women and children being raped and killed right now.
Yeah.
We want to bring to the attention of Alabama legalizing abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to be a bummer about these things, but these are petitions that take 4 or 5 minutes to fill out online. Mm-hmm. If you can put that kind of petition in the universe, can we put a petition that really is going to help people in real life? Not Batman,
Right.
Not Sansa, not Arya. You know, which we love these characters. Trust. I love Game of Thrones. I thought the finale was okay. It wasn't phenomenal like we were expecting it to be, but I liked the storyline and how it ended. But I'm not going to write a freaking article to change.org saying make my life better, because you know what? I have something called a life.
Hell yes.
Like I said,
Thank
you don't
you,
live in your
Hunty.
parents' basement.
Right? What?
All
Yeah.
these people are in their parents'
They're in
basement
their-
with nothing to do.
1.6
Nothing to
million
do.
of them have nothing else to do but write a freaking
Honestly.
letter.
Right.
You remember what I was saying about the horror community?
Yeah.
And that's different than the like geek community at large, because the horror community sees when projects are made and they're like, this is great, I'm going to go support this. Because this was made, I will give it a shot. Whereas a lot of the geek community is like, this is made for me. And
yeah.
if I, you know what I mean? It's a pulling in as opposed to a
Kinda
pushing
selfish,
out.
don't you think?
Oh, of course it is.
Sure.
And it's also myopic because everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah.
And just because your opinion is this, and maybe you share it with a bunch of other people, you didn't make it.
Do you think
Right.
HBO is going to turn around and say, sure, we're going to spend
I know,
another
right?
$100 million.
Yeah.
They spent $100 million on the season.
Let's
season
just
load.
redo it.
Let's just redo
right.
it.
Yeah.
You know,
You were
and,
right.
You know, and
Yeah.
I understand that they had frustrations with R.R. Martin because it took him forever to write the other book and the other series.
Yes.
And they had to, like, you know, sorry, R.R., we had to do our own little storyline.
Right.
I get that. But it's a show. It doesn't pay your bills. It doesn't change your life. And if
Right.
it does, I feel sorry for you.
Exactly.
Get some friends.
Yep.
Okay? Get a mirror and get some friends.
Yeah.
What they should do is watch a really great show called Demonhuntr.
Yeah.
It's coming out in summer
I
of
was just gonna say,
2020.
if you take 30
They will
seconds,
love it.
He
30
did that.
seconds out of those 4 to 5 minutes that you were
You'll
going
love
to
it.
use and
He did
just
that.
follow. You don't even
Yeah.
need a username and
Yeah.
password.
Thank you. What
Yeah.
a great plug.
Just an email address.
Do you like how I seamlessly put that into the conversation?
Literally the whole time.
Beautiful.
Just in the back of my head.
Let's really do something. If you guys are going to put some really good attention, let's put it into the Demonhuntr series.
Yeah,
Because that's really...
something new.
Yeah, and it's helping you guys out, helping the community out as well, right?
Yeah, or what I would say is, even like, all kidding aside, even if it's not Demonhuntr, for anybody who is so mad about the Game of Thrones ending, go look at all of the web series that are crowdfunding and see something that you would really like and give
Great
it a few
idea.
bucks.
Yeah.
Great idea,
Instead of
too.
going on
Follow it.
change.org for something you know is never going to happen, put
Right.
that energy towards something positive.
And then write HBO and say, please make this show.
Yeah! Oh, I like the way
Yes.
you're thinking.
Get 1.6 million signatures on that.
Right. So whatever show you think is going to be good, but especially Demonhuntr, because that's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's your Wiglet of the week, guys. So, as you guys know, you know where to find me on Twitter and Instagram. You see it on my podcast. You hear it. You hear it on the podcast in the past. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. But I want to repeat where we can find Demonhuntr's information as well.
So we can go to demonhunter.com. I didn't articulate. Demonhunter.com, which is demonhuntr.com. And that takes us, that takes you right to our Seed and Spark crowdfunding page. Our Twitter is Demonhuntr Series. Sorry, that's wrong. Our Twitter is Demonhuntr Show. Our Instagram is Demonhuntr Series. Our Facebook is facebook.com/Demonhuntr.
Any type of monetary support is welcomed.
Absolutely.
Yes, even
No
a
donation
follow.
is too small.
Yeah.
Right, and you can even do the absolutely free follow. That is
That's
also
right.
very
if you
welcome.
guys can't donate any money, they definitely need some followers, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We're at 250. We just broke 250.
Yeah,
and
on
so,
Seed and Spark.
On Seed and Spark.
Right.
So our next goal is 500 on
Yeah.
Seed and Spark.
Well, I want to say thank you, Tim and Rob, for being here.
Thank you.
Did you have a good time?
I had
Oh my
such a
gosh.
good time. This was so great.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah,
I'm
and that
so
tea
glad you
is
came
piping
here.
hot.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes,
She's
it
hot. And I want to thank my studio audience, Marina. Yay! We're here to help with a lot of people's dreams, my dream, and I'm just really grateful that you guys are here. Thank you, Edward, for being my amazing co-host as well.
You're welcome, as always.
Thank you very much. This is Pride Month. Again, we want to really make sure we have extraordinary guests that are we help them shine and help them be on a pedestal that they don't get all the time. You know, we always want to talk about the little man, the medium man, and the big man, and big woman, and the little woman, and the small child, and the big. Again, inclusivity is my tone for today. And I want to share that. And speaking of inclusivity, we have an amazing new guest next week, Wendy Dugan, transgender woman. And she's going to talk about her family, how things changed when she made a decision to transform to a woman from a man. And she's actually a very successful construction. She has a very successful construction company.
Oh.
She's amazing, and she's a very good friend. And I keep saying I have good friends, and I'm so grateful that I have a huge circle of good friends, because I know Wendy for a very, very long time, and she's got a story that you guys are going to be like, what?
Cool.
So she'll be on the next week's podcast. So Wendy, we are looking for you, and thank you for being a guest. So, and we're also going to talk about the dating scene for her too.
Yeah.
We
Right?
gotta listen to that one.
Oh, we gotta definitely listen to that.
Yeah.
So, in conclusion, I'm Queen ShanShan, and thank you for listening to Abroad.